Hi, this is Stuart. Welcome everyone to Around the Bases Detroit Tigers edition. We're going to be talking about the Detroit Tigers, and we have a guest today, Chris Hubble. We're talking about Major League Baseball and Around the Bases. So we've got Josh Kermy. He's a journalist. We've got Chris Hubble. He's a real estate agent and a social media personality, and it's got a lot of other cool things going on. So Chris, this is the first time that you've been on our podcast. Tell us where you grew up, where you live now, and tell us how you got into real estate.
Hey guys, my name is Chris Hubble. So I grew up in the Keego Harbor area. So I was born in Pontiac, Michigan, moved to Keego Harbor when I was young, and grew up in poverty. Later in life, moved out onto my own and started a career in the bicycle industry. So I actually managed a bicycle shop for 12 years.
Oh, okay, cool.
Buying my first house was kind of what opened up my eyes to Pontiac and what opened up my eyes to historic homes. So going through the process, I stumbled on some historic homes in Pontiac, Seminole Hills, and Franklin Boulevard neighborhood, and ended up making the move to Pontiac, ignoring the stereotype, ignoring all the rumors I heard, and taking a risk on a city that I saw potential in. And from there, my love for historic homes kind of just grew and followed me, and took a leap of faith, got into real estate right after buying that home, and kind of story has grown from there.
Okay, great. And Pontiac, that's a very historic city. What was the reason for all of these old historic homes in Pontiac?
So as America was settled, and as we had Detroit settled, and then there was the War of Pontiac. I mean, we had the Clinton River, that was a large waterway. We had the rail system. So in early America, in early Detroit history, that was kind of the center of everything. So as railways expanded, cities expanded, kind of same thing with Ann Arbor. The University of Michigan began down in Detroit, then moved upwards towards Ann Arbor, because Ann Arbor, donated a bunch of land towards the university and that. But yeah, I mean, beautiful historic communities in all three of those cities.
Great. And the auto industry was big in Pontiac. And the reason you said you had to take a risk on Pontiac and ignored some of the rumors on Pontiac is because of the auto industry retreating from the city. So what happened when that happened?
Yeah, so Oakland Car Company, when they began, so they actually have a warehouse on Rapid Street. It's the old Planet Rock, which is kind of just cool old history there. General Motors came to town, the Pontiac brand was born, came to life. It actually ended up, it was kind of a side project of the Oakland Car Company, and then ended up surpassing the Oakland Car Company and became the major player brand there. And then obviously through the bankruptcy, General Motors bankruptcy, Pontiac was done away with. And then this past year, we actually had the Pontiac Motors 100, which was downtown Pontiac. We had a ton of old Pontiac vehicles come to life and do a 100-year anniversary there. But now we've got the old General Motors building. The Pontiac Plaza building is actually up for demolition currently, which is kind of, on a side note, just another historic building that's about to be wiped from the face of the planet.
Is that a good thing because something will rise from the ashes, or is that a bad thing because it can never be replaced?
It's a catch-22. So I'm a firm believer in repurposing.
Yeah.
So I think, things could have been explored for repurpose use. I am not somebody who's, hey, why don't they turn it into a homeless encampment like a lot of people out there, I mean, there's an owner of this building and there's a financial responsibility for that individual, but
yeah,
repurpose is cool when at all possible. I know they're doing asbestos abatement over there currently. So obviously with older buildings, it does pose a lot of hazardous risks. So all of those have to be weighed. I'm not too familiar with the inner workings of exactly what's going on in that building. But yeah.
Okay. And then tell me about the Foundry, and tell me about how you got into social media. And I know you've got 50,000 followers on Facebook and probably similar on Instagram, YouTube. I know you've got a big presence on YouTube. Tell us about what your goals are for social media and how that plays into real estate, and tell us more about that.
Yes, so social media has always kind of been a big thing for me with real estate. I started at KW Metro, Keller Williams Metro, and I was sold a way of real estate that had been done for years, right? Like, we're gonna door knock, we're gonna cold call, and I'm 37 today, and when I started real estate, I was in my late 20s. And I knew that I wanted to do things different than what everybody else was doing, right? I knew social media had power, and very early on, I took a very extensive social media marketing course.
Okay.
So that's where the Facebook journey kind of began. And then I over the years, I've kind of stumbled through a couple different brands. I started Inked Michigan Realty, and we were an associate broker with EXP, and then I brought in some equal business partners and realized I had made a mistake with bringing in equal business partners. Goals just weren't the same on all sides, and walked away from that and started what I have now, which is History Loves Company. That's where we kind of focus on the telling history stories of Detroit, Pontiac, and beyond. Eventually, I want to grow that into a worldwide network. I want to be able to travel to castles and tell the stories of castles in Europe and different things like that.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, right.
That sounds awesome.
Realizing how hyper-local like each platform is, and specifically YouTube. So like Facebook has been wonderful. I mean, I've grown to 53,000 followers on Facebook. It is a very powerful community. It's mainly Detroit and Pontiac based, but continuing to grow every day. With YouTube, I have found that it is so hyper-local that if I do anything outside of Detroit, it flops. So I have to find a way to maneuver outside of Detroit. So I've got a really cool 1840s Ann Arbor listing right now, and my way to kind of maneuver the algorithm for that was doing a Detroit to Ann Arbor series and doing several videos that tie Detroit to Ann Arbor before actually dropping the listing video. So I was able to, I brought up the University of Michigan thing, and that's kind of what that was used for, was to prep the algorithm to transition us from Detroit to Ann Arbor. And it's actually the first time I've tried using this, so it's niche bending is what they call it. And I was able to see the first video I posted of Detroit to Ann Arbor didn't do very well. Second video, I think we're up to like 1,500 views on that one, so it's starting to gain some traction. And then the next one we'll be working on this week is the 1575 Earhart Road video, which is the actual listing video. So it'll be like a 25 to 30 minute documentary of the home itself.
Good, and I appreciate the fact that you don't do ruin porn and you don't do like depressing stories just for views, because you know, I was in Detroit and I did like 3 videos about positive things, and then I saw an apartment building I used to manage was actually like boarded up and someone had broken into it and it looked horrible. I did a video of that saying like, man, we've invested so much money in Detroit, but look what's still happening. And then that was the one that of course popped off, you know. And so yeah, don't sell your soul for views. I like your positive social media presence. And so what's the Foundry?
So the Foundry is kind of something I stumbled into on accident. I'm going to throw this out there, by the way. My cat fell out the other day, so I'm staring at it on the screen and it's driving me nuts. But so the Foundry is essentially an experiment. So I was walking through a commercial space across the hall from my personal offices for History Loves Company. And I'm the leasing agent for the building owner, so a large commercial space, roughly 5,000 square feet. And after several months of not having any luck with it, I kind of walked through it with the Rust Belt in Ferndale, kind of in my mind, right? And I started walking through vendor pod here, and just started kind of imagining the space as a vendor market.
Okay.
I threw feelers out on social media. The community loved it, so we kind of went a step further and put plans into action. Kind of just threw the rule book out the window and just saw what we can make happen. Within a month, we have over 25 vendors. Quite a bit of energy in there, and we're looking to really create a community for the city of Pontiac that's focused on love and like kindness, and get away from the anger and hate. There's so much anger and hate in the world now. I just want to create a safe place for the people of Pontiac, you know, and it's a city that's on the verge of coming to life. There's a lot of things going on with the county seat, and just a lot of life to give. So. And
what kind of vendors are in there, and are they open 8 to 5, or like how's the building open? How's it flow?
So we are open every day but Monday. So the reason I'm here is because Mondays we're not there. So that's our reset day. We're open Tuesday through Sunday. Our hours vary, but the website is thefoundryhlc.com. Tuesdays, or most days of the week, we open at noon, and then we're open until 6 on Tuesday and Wednesday, open until 7 on Thursday, 8 on Friday, 10 to 7 on Saturday, and 11 to 5 on Sunday.
So that's foundryhlc.com?
Yep. Okay. HLC stands for History Loves Company. Okay. Thefoundryhlc.com. Hours will be on there, and you can shop online as well. We've got our Pontiac Built brand on there, and then in terms of what we sell, Lots of locally made items, lots of holistic items, antiques, sports memorabilia. So like my personal Red Wings collection is on display and for sale there. And a lot of the space is really about storytelling. So not only are we selling products, but it's the story behind the product. So one of the Gordie Howe autographed photos I have was signed for an 8-year-old boy at Olympia Stadium. And like the story behind that is half of the value in that item. And yeah, I mean, it's just a safe place to talk, a place where, we have Tigers games on the radio while they're playing. So come in, hang out, listen, just a place for people to go and have a safe space.
All right, great. And what's turning to Detroit Tigers baseball? What's your first Detroit Tigers baseball memory?
I'm a newer Detroit Tigers fan, actually. So the last handful of years, I was at 24 when they went on that run. Was really when I started paying attention, and it was kind of prior to them going on the run. I went to a game, and I really kind of caught a buzz. And a lot of it was because I'm a diehard Red Wings fan, right? And the Red Wings have been garbage for a decade now. So a little bit of it was looking for somewhere else to put that passion, and that's kind of when I discovered the Tigers and have been like a diehard fan since 24. Prior to that, though, it was never really like anything big for me. I mean, I grew up
at the Red Wings games.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing t-ball and baseball and that, but like really fell out of it and was a diehard hockey guy.
Okay. Yeah, good. And so, who was your favorite hockey player growing up on the Detroit Red Wings?
I was always a goalie guy. I don't know if I would say any of the Red Wings goalies were my favorite guy. I'd probably have to say Martin Brodeur.
Okay.
So that's like harsh reality, is I'm a diehard Red Wings guy, but my favorite goalie wasn't a Red Wings goalie.
Okay, no problem.
I mean, Chris Osgood wasn't all that good, if you ask me.
Yeah, good.
We're conflicted in 95.
What happened in 95, Josh?
Wings lost to the Devils.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
Remember when they won all those games, and then 2 years later they won the cup? They
Okay.
lost to Marty.
Yeah, man.
Marty.
Good. All right. Well, we're on the Frenetic Pace podcast, and you can see our work at freneticpace.com. We have 10 journalists now working at the company and 1 photographer, and phase 2 of the website launching, I think, at the end of this week. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. Just search Frenetic Pace. And we're making some good progress on social media. Not anything Chris Hubble size, 50,000 followers, but 1 follower at a time. And I think people are really enjoying the Facebook reels that you've been taking from the stands in Comerica Park, giving a new perspective of what it's like to be a fan and what you see in the stadium. So Chris, Josh, talk to us about the Tigers. What happened this weekend, and what are we looking forward to this week?
Framber Valdez, do we want to start there?
Sure.
I mean, how do we feel about this guy? I was super excited to get him when we signed him in the offseason, and not super excited to see that he's our starting pitcher any game anymore at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my big struggle is he seems like a wild card. Like, didn't he intentionally hit his own catcher at one point because he got pissed off and it seems like a bit of a hothead, but hothead's fine as long as you can channel it correctly. But I think $38 million a year should give us a little more stability, and it looks like another bad signing.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Fromber definitely has not been the $38 million a year guy. There is zero doubt. Had some bad starts early, and then it was kind of like it was like almost like rotated, like good, bad, and then obviously the last one he didn't even make it out of the first inning. Before yesterday, yesterday, if we're limiting it to just what happened yesterday, that I'm not going to necessarily put it all on Fromber. There was a lot, if you watched my video that I put out yesterday, there was a lot more that kind of went on that kind of hurt them than Fromber. He should have got out of the first inning with only giving up one run. How you unfortunately made that error. It was a ground ball. He's a ground ball pitcher. I mean, I think a lot of the problem is that, maybe some fans thought that like he was going to come in and strike everyone out, kind of like what Tarrant does, and he's not that pitcher. He has a 60% ground ball rate, right? So like he's a guy that pitches to contact. Unfortunately, because of his stuff and location, has not been what it was in the past. it's hurt him this year because, you know, they're hitting it harder than normal.
Yeah.
The weekend as a whole, you know, it started out, I guess, they won the first 2 games. I said they really needed 3 out of 4. They didn't get it. I mean, and especially it just hurts because the way they lost the 2 games, right? They were
one run games again.
They were up, you know, especially yesterday because they battled back down 3-0. You know, they have that big 5th inning where they score 4 and they're up, and you know, yesterday or the day before, Saturday, Wagensbach comes in, and it's tough because Wagensbach's been really, I mean, he has great numbers. He has a sub-2 ERA. I mean, he's done pretty much everything you can ask, and he gives up the home run, you know, Saturday, and then yesterday, Drew Summers. I mentioned in the video, I really thought he was only going to pitch to Caglianone. You know, he came in and got that out in the inning, despite the 3-batter rule. Someone else could have started because the inning broke, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I thought maybe Holton, because Holton only threw 11 pitches the day before, could come in just with the experience and like, okay, this is more his speed, because Summers really came in to be that like 1 to 2 lefty specialist. If you look at his outings, they're not long at all.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, I like AJ. It's just tough with that bullpen right now. No matter, I mean, if you had whoever you think the best manager ever in the history of baseball would have trouble managing this bullpen right now because it's just tough. There's no swing and miss, and today that's really hard to manage. Not a bullpen that has no swing and miss.
Especially when you get into the extra innings and you've got a guy on second base, you need a swing and miss pitcher.
Yeah.
It's so easy to score that run if you're giving up ground balls to the right hand side or you're giving up fly balls.
We've talked about that, you know, before, that extra innings are just really tough for this baseball team due to that, because out of the bullpen, Drew Anderson is the guy that has swing and miss, whether you love or hate him. And yeah, sometimes he does get hit, but he's the guy that has any swing and miss out of that bullpen pretty much right now.
Yeah.
So it's just hard because he's putting guys in. It's like, okay, I hope this is their day.
Yeah.
Because it's so feast or famine with almost pretty much all of them.
So taking it back to 1992, when the Illich bought the team. I was born in 1983, so I missed the 84 World Series only being one. Missed them being good in 87, and started being a fan like in the early 90s, right when the Illiches bought the team. It's been amazing. It's been terrible. It's been everything in between. And now that Chris Illich is in charge, looks like they're spending some more money. They're getting they're going after these big signings. They're just not working out. Like, what do you think? Has the Illich family been a good steward of the Detroit Tigers?
Yeah, you know, just because we do have a big Tigers fan base here, I thought that this would, I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of put some perspective on what the Tigers were, and even what they've been historically, right? And also kind of what they've been through, because you hear so often, Chris isn't Mike, and Chris, you're gonna like, because hockey's my other sport, so like you're gonna hear talking a lot about the Red Wings, and obviously they're linked, right? Whether you like it or not, and I know this is a Tigers podcast, but
yeah, because
of ownership, the Tigers and Red Wings are always linked together. They get lumped together in their judgment from fans. So, Mike bought the Tigers in 1992. The Detroit Tigers have been around since 1901. They have made the playoffs 2 years in a row 4 times.
That's not good.
Okay, so just so people can kind of like, okay,
right,
great franchise, I love them, but like, okay, so, and I'm going to tie this kind of into one of our other topics, but like, so what the Tigers have done the last 2 years, first of all, is very good. Second of all, very unexpected, and not something the franchise has not done often, whatever your kind of mind thinks. Secondly, it took Mike 13 years to make the playoffs, right? He bought him in 92. They didn't make the playoffs till 2006.
Yep.
Okay, 13 years.
Right.
Chris took over. Mike died in 2017. Chris took over. And obviously, there's a lot going on when that happens.
Right.
Okay, you know, day one from the transition. You know, he took over a horrible situation because, you know, it was Avila, it was Osmus. Osmus is horrible. There was a reason he's not managed really. I mean, he had a cameo, but not long. So like, he had a lot of work to do with both teams, mainly the Tigers, because of what had, what had happened. I mean, Dave Dombrowski, great GM, he just does it a different way, and he leaves farm systems bare. So I want people to realize that there was a lot of work to do, and that they made the playoffs twice since Chris took over. And this was always a process, and a lot of this was unexpected. Even if you want to get down to as specific as Tarek Skubal, Tarek in 2023 only pitched 15 games. He had just come back from surgery.
Yeah.
And then in 2024, he wins the Cy Young.
Yeah.
Like, all of this they traded Jack Flaherty in 2024 to the Dodgers, got Trey Sweeney and Tyron Lozano, who's now a top prospect. Like, and of course he wants to win. I'm not saying it's like winning is a bad thing, but like, there were these long-term plans in place of what Scott wanted to do and people to put in place. And then all of a sudden now he, in a 2.5-year span, has the best pitcher in baseball and a team with immense expectations.
Right.
So I just want people to realize, like, this has been a tough kind of overhaul, and some unexpected things have happened.
Yeah. Okay, good. And Chris, do you follow Scott Harris and the trades and the pickups? Like, how detailed is your Tiger fandom?
Yes, not as detailed as that. I mean, I would love to talk about the Tarek Skubal trade by, like,
Yes.
what do we do
We're
there?
going to get to in there in a second.
But yeah, as far as like what we've done, right? I mean, the trading away Jack Flaherty, making a run. I mean, completely unexpected, right? And like, I completely agree. Like, the Tigers have come out of nowhere really the last couple of years, and have really put together like a much better than they are on paper team most of the time. What I've hated seeing is the failed signings, and we always hate seeing that, but like, just the Valdez not working out as planned, or the bullpen falling apart when it was a strong suit last year. I mean, we've got 17 blown saves at this point in time, which is the worst in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and I think,
which is wild.
but bad signings like, Jansen, comes in with like 470 saves, which is awesome, like history. He's a great, but that also means probably
He's got none left.
Right, probably means he doesn't have much left. So it's like, was that good? Was that bad? So right, exactly. So what do you think is going to happen with Tarek Skubal, and what do you want to happen with Tarek Skubal?
I hope that we don't keep him. I mean, I don't think there's any chance we sign him next year. And at this point, I think if we would have won the 2 games this week and then swept KC, or even taken 3 out of 4, I probably would have been on board with like, okay, let's keep him and make a run. But seeing what happened in 24 and knowing what our starting lineup is like, I don't necessarily think we need Tarek Skubal to make a run for the playoffs. I mean, he plays 1 out of 5 games. I think having somebody in the bullpen to tie up the bullpen and having another bat would help us get to the playoffs easier than keeping Tarek Skubal. So I'm kind of on the sell-buy hybrid.
Yeah.
Stage.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people on the sell-buy hybrid. My concern is, and this happens to the Detroit Tigers, is we trade players and then have to face them in the playoffs or later in the year. So I mean, just imagine you trade Tarek Skubal to an AL team and you're behind Cleveland by 1 game, and now you have to face Tarek Skubal. It's just a terrible scenario.
You hope for a Lane Thomas scenario there, right? We
Right.
can grand slam off of him.
Because Tarek Skubal's hit swing and miss, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do the Detroit Tigers love to do at bat? Exactly. I mean, I could see Tarek Skubal is striking out 15 Detroit Tigers.
It's a really hard situation. To me, I honestly think the decision may already kind of be made here. I don't know. I don't know that the last 2 games necessarily decided his fate. I mean, it's possible. Me personally, I can absolutely understand if they trade him. Like, because I think Chris and Scott know, okay, do we have a 5% chance to keep him? Do we have a 10? Because I think that's even more like of discussions. Like, first of all, Chris, do we want to even try spending the money? And talking to Scott Boras, okay, Scott, do we have a shot, right? Like, I think, and those are conversations only a handful of people know. Even insiders probably don't. If you're talking about this year, I personally think that if you trade Tarek Skubal, then you're done for 2026 doing anything. Like, can you maybe make the playoffs? Maybe. And I even think that being 6 games back with 56 left, that's kind of a long shot with him, let alone without him. So I'm on the thing that if you're going to trade him, then like if you're going to be a Bear, be a Grizzly, sell, you're going to sell. Like if you want to do the buy sell thing, it might be kind of the quote unquote easy way out and make some fans feel good and make the front office feel good because like, oh, hey, we're so competitive, but like they're not going to win anything other than maybe a fluke wild card and losing the division series again. And like, that's cool, but like, that's not, to me, that's not why in 2026 you say, okay, we're going to go get Framber Valdez and we're going to have a $240 million payroll. Like
Right.
That to me, but like, okay, maybe it'll keep fans in the seats till October or shorter and kind of pacify some people. But if you're really going to say, okay, we're moving on from Tarek Skubal and he's going to be gone, then say, okay, we got to kind of maybe not rebuild, but reset.
Yeah, so my challenge is this weekend. I know you don't want to talk about specific games as it relates to Skubal, but like it would have been really nice to see Valdez go out there and pitch really, really well. And then you could say, okay, again, maybe we can make the playoffs without Skubal. I just don't see us making the playoffs without Skubal because when he was out, the Tigers were 6-22.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a mental thing, partially, or it sucks going into the game without your best player. Going into the week without your best player available, you're like, well, at least we're going to win one because Tarek's going to pitch,
right.
So like, it's just really tough.
I agree with that. And trust me, I mean, being there 2 out of the last, I mean, I was there Friday and Sunday. I mean, trust me, it doesn't feel like a late game in July.
Yeah.
It feels like we're in late September or a playoff game
right.
because of, I mean, Tarek and everyone just know. It's like, and I said it in a video, like I think before yesterday's game, like it doesn't feel like there's 57 games left. It feels like there's 7.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Like that because
and
of
it has for a while.
And I mean, honestly, so he's just. I mean, he's going to control the complete deadline if he's moved, and he still is just because of the news cycle. I think I said it in the Philly series, and I 1,000,000% agree with what you just said. I do not think that without Tarek Skubal, they are anything that's going to make the playoffs. Because I think he's more than just a guy every 5th day. I think he's there. I said it in a video. I personally think he's their identity. He makes them believe, and he gives them just an internal belief of we can beat anybody.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is a partial mental collapse of the team without him, and I think that was very obvious this season when he went down with the elbow injury. So I do agree with you guys on that front for sure.
And then Chris, if they're gonna buy, what do they need to make the playoffs or be competitive in the playoffs?
I mean, I'd say bullpen for sure, right? I mean, if they've got 17 blown saves, so like my whole thinking is if you were able to trade him for the right bullpen piece and for the right batter, like maybe you're able to sneak in. And it's a long shot at this point, but the AL is garbage. The problem is the AL is garbage, but the teams that we need to be doing garbage right now have actually been kind of on heaters. So we're not getting any closer.
Well, no, I was hoping the Chicago White Sox were going to collapse, but they won again last night, right?
Red Sox just won, 15 straight? I don't know if they're still on their heater, if they finally lost.
So bullpen definitely, and then what about an outfielder who can hit? Would that be helpful?
I agree. Bullpen 1,000,000%. And with how you has came on.
That's good.
Yeah, with how, I'm just saying I agree with what you just said. Outfielder of some type, because I mean, Now, one thing to keep in mind is Javi is imminent. He's actually going to be in Detroit. He's actually either going to be or in Detroit today.
He hit 3 doubles yesterday.
He was like 5 for 7 or 8 in his 2 games in Toledo.
Okay.
Overall, and is coming back. He's going to get looked at. I don't know how soon AJ actually said he's going to come in and want to play today, to his office. I don't think he's playing quite yet. And Toledo's off today. They don't, minor leagues don't play Mondays.
Okay.
So I still think an outfielder, probably a right-handed bat. Maybe if Carey's hurt long term, that could change, but would be useful. It's going to be interesting. Like, I guess Malgeri is the guy that's going to go down just because of positional and defensive need when Javi comes back.
Right.
Outman I know has not been great at the plate, but he plays center field, and they're going to need someone other than Javi against right-handed pitching in center field. But bullpen in that, that Jackson Jobe. One thing to keep in mind too is Jackson actually going to be in Detroit today as well. His next start is going to be in Toledo. So I don't think they're going to necessarily throw him right into the starting rotation just because they have enough right now.
Yeah.
So I think that is a person that could step in and now they still need to go get more bullpen. Don't get me wrong, but another piece in the bullpen that it does have some miss because he touches triple digits.
Yeah, good. And so if you sell Tarek Skubal, who else are you selling, or are you doing this buy-sell thing that Chris is talking about?
I completely understand why people want to do that. Me personally, I'm like, if you're moving on, you're moving on, and you got to put yourself in because the Yankees, they're probably going to get Aaron Judge back. They just got Max Fried back. They're going to make whatever moves they can in the next 7 to 8 days at the deadline, right? So I know they haven't been great. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. When he comes back, they're going to be the best team in the American League. You're not going in and beating Max Fried, Garrett Cole, Cam Schlittler, who's probably going to win the American League Cy Young, and Carlos Rodon, Aaron Judge, Mike Stanton, and Cody Bellinger. You're not you really think you're going to beat them in a series without Tarek Skubal?
Definitely not.
I just and to me, it's about being an actual contender for the World Series. It's not about making the division series. Again, please just make sure that's clear. What my thinking is behind, because that's why that was this whole year is about. And if you're going to reset and move on from Tarek Skubal, then say, okay, we're going to move Casey, we're going to move Glaber, and even maybe Jack. Jack could probably get something because he's been pitching. He's actually pitched well.
And the Tigers farm system, I know there's a couple people that fans are excited about. Who's down there that's worthy of being a Major League Baseball player?
Yeah, right now, of course, just like it has been really all season, it's about Max Clark. Especially because
How old is he?
He's 21.
Okay. Is he another McGonigal?
I don't know if
With
he's another
bigger chains.
Right, exactly, bigger chains. He very well could get a look when rosters expand. They expand rosters later in the season. I think right now they are going to want to pretty much stick with the veterans, just with what's going on with the team right now. He's been doing very well. He plays center field, so it's a position. It is long term a position of need, and he'll be here and get a shot. Especially in the last month, he's been doing really well down there. And they just drafted Cameron Flukie, who's a pitcher, which pitching they need down there because pitching is thin in the minors for them. And he actually is now he went right up to I think he's their best ranked pitcher in the system immediately.
Wow. Okay. And Chris, any other topics, Detroit Tiger topics you want to discuss before wrapping this up?
Dylan Dingler.
Yeah.
That's always a fun one. I think he's
guy.
one of the top catchers in the league, if not the top catcher in most statistics
I think he is
right
the top
now.
catcher because the A's catcher just got hurt. He's out for the rest of the season, and that was his main catcher competitor, right? So
And it's really fun to say Dingler hit a dinger, so there's always that. But no, he's been a pleasant surprise the last few years. Jake Rogers obviously had the reins, Mr. Mustache, and then all of a sudden, like, who is Jake Rogers? Because we've got Dylan Dingler that steps in, and he's been just a pleasant surprise across the
someone was
board.
upset in your comments the other day that they were starting Jake Rogers, and you were like, "Well, Dylan Dingler can't play catcher 162 games."
Yeah, I mean,
And Jake Rogers is good with the pitchers,
and
right?
he was absolutely also off in his assessment because, like, plenty of catchers that and older they got. I mean, they just do. You get a day out, you get the day game off after a night game. I mean, especially like planning goes into that. Jake really always most of the time he plans to catch Casey.
Okay.
And it just it just made sense that day. And like Dylan needed a full day off. Like normally catchers do not also DH in their day off.
Right.
That's not normal.
And I mean, Jake Rogers. I know his batting average is low, but he always seems to make something happen out there.
Well, that game made sense because coming into that game, he was 6 for 12 lifetime against Michael Waka.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, you always catch Casey, pretty much. You're 6 for 12 against this guy. Like,
Dingler needs a day
because
off.
you could have reversed it for some reason. If the night before, like, you could have said, okay, Jake, you're going to catch Friday, and then Dylan catch Saturday because it was a day game. So like, it would have worked for Dylan to play those two in a row, but. You know,
6 for 12 is pretty good.
People's perception, those are those people that just look to complain, and they're out there.
Yeah, okay,
That's
so
social media.
final predictions.
Get lots of it.
Final predictions for the rest of the season. My prediction is the Detroit Tigers make the playoffs. I think that we're going to make a run. I know we're sitting behind 2 losses, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs. But I completely agree with Josh, especially if Tarek School's gone. They'll just be overwhelmed by teams that shorten it up, teams that have really dominant pitching, striking out some of the Detroit Tigers that are chasing. And I know Javi Baez is going to be back, but he's Mr. Chase. And so I just don't think that in the playoffs the Detroit Tigers are going to be competitive this year with throwing guys out there that are batting under 200. So I think they're going to make the playoffs, though. I don't know how they're going to make it. I can't tell you exactly how it's going to happen, but I just want to be a fan and be excited for the rest of the year and see some good things still the baseball team can do. What do you think, Josh?
Man, my heart says one thing and my brain says the other.
Well, so let's talk about your brain because you're a journalist.
My brain says they're not. I mean, then that's just me going on. Like, I go back and forth with the school thing. I think they're gonna have to trade them. I just do. And I hope
You think the deal's already done? Maybe.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong before. I've been wrong before. I hope I'm wrong about this. I just think they're gonna have to because 6 games with 56, and I know the wild card is there, but that's just so murky when you got 5 teams ahead of you. Like that just throws a lot of things off, and you don't play those teams a lot. I mean, my heart says yeah, they're still in it, and I want them to, and I'm gonna be hoping they do, and so I'd love to come eat my words on this. I'll be the first one to say, hey, I was wrong, and I'm glad, but. I guess one thing I want to say, just for fans, I know there's a lot of fans that even like, it's not about thinking he will be traded, want him gone, because I think it's the comfortable thing to do. Just remember what happened when they traded Justin Verlander is all I'm going to say on that. People, and I know one selection. There's also the Yordan Alvarez's, who the Dodgers traded him, and he's of course now the best hitter in baseball prospect. But there's also the Franklin Perez's and the Des Camerons is who we got. Just look up those 2 names. That's who we got for Justin Verlander. And Justin Verlander went on to win 2 more Cy Youngs and 2 World Series because everyone said he was done and he didn't matter. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, good. Chris, what do you think?
Big bold prediction. We trade Tarek Skubal. Kevin McGonigal wins Rookie of the Year, which that's not very bold. And Troy Melton against Tarek Skubal for it all.
Oh.
And Troy Melton
That's
takes
awesome.
down the man. No, I do have high hopes in Troy Melton, and I think that could be kind of like if we do trade Skubal, if Melton steps up. And I mean, Montero has been playing out of his mind too.
You're
So it's like
100% correct.
I feel like we have a couple young pitchers that like if they could possibly step up and just really take their career to the next level, maybe that could be it. But like I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be one of those angels in the outfield type scenarios, kind of like 24 was, where it's not expected, but they go. I mean, I just want to believe that you're right, that they go on this heater. And like, I see how optimistic you are about them on social media, and I feel the same way. I want to believe so hard that they're going to do it.
When I'm not working,
yeah.
trust me, I'm right with them.
Right.
One thing I will say about like the whole like Stewart's point is because that's something that I've talked about. He's 100% right. Like, what if you face him later in the year? I do think that makes this trade even more unique, if it can even be more unique, is I do think that if like they're going to want to trade him to a National League team.
Well, that takes 15 teams off the table or whatever.
I know.
And
But see, the thing is like, I think that like the two best cases are in the National League anyway.
Yeah.
The Dodgers and Brewers.
The Dodgers don't need him, but if they get him, it almost guarantees a three-peat.
And yeah,
so
and
it's just
so-
like,
And I mean, that's the thing too, though. Can you imagine, like, okay, we want to win the World Series, but we're going to trade him to the Dodgers? Like, can you imagine, like, beating him? But
they also have the prospect
the
pool
thing
for
is,
us
it's like-
too.
Yeah, no, that's why
And
this
then-
trade is impossible. Is you have to trade them to a team that's already going to be able to beat you, and now it's impossible to
Yeah.
beat them.
Right. And see, the thing is, it's like, because if you trade him to, to Chris's point, it's like, okay, we want to do the buy-sell thing. So if you're really going to do the buy-sell thing, how can you really trade him to an American League team and then still sell yourself and the fans that you're actually trying to get to a World Series? Like, if you trade him to the Yankees, how can you, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying, like, as far as, like, just trade it, like, then trade everybody in your next year.
Yeah,
Like,
so
what are you trying to
Dodgers
what are
or
you doing?
Brewers
Is
to
there
me.
any way to trade them to a bad team for really great players? Is that a thing?
You have no leverage because they're going like, what are we going to do?
What do they want to
I
buy
mean,
for?
The only team that even be remote, and they're not going to do it, but like would be the Mets, because Cohen has $21 billion and actually can say, okay, I'm going to give you whatever you want to
$400
keep you,
right.
to have you now and keep you.
Right.
Well, I guess part of that
But-
conversation is you have the ability to talk to
thing
Jack
is,
Skubal every day to secure a contract.
The hard part
moving
is
forward.
that in a couple months, the Dodgers can. They just say, well, why would we give you all these prospects and players when we could just buy him in a couple months? The Dodgers might do it out of spite, though, because a little bit, at least some of it, because it's like the Dodgers don't want the Phillies, and you can't, like Dave Dombrowski was here, how aggressive Dave Dombrowski is. The Dodgers don't want the Phillies to get him.
No.
The Brewers,
No.
Mizorowski and Skubal, that Brewer, like that, or the Braves.
On ESPN.com yesterday, someone said he said the future Hall of Famers. He put Mizorowski in the Hall of Fame already.
I mean, if he stays healthy, it's a good shot. I mean,
Didn't he throw like 66 pitches in triple digits or something?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
what?
that's a bold prediction.
I thought it was like one of those fake parody websites when I
Right.
first saw it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the Dodgers also and that's what makes the Dodgers just a complete unicorn. It's like they have the MVPs, they have and everything, and they even have like Blake Snell and Tyler Glass now and Edwin Diaz coming back, and they have like this embarrassment of riches in the minor leagues and outfield prospects that the Tigers do want.
All right, guys. Well, that's the Frenetic Pace podcast, Around the Bases. Thank you for our guest, Chris. Josh, thank you very much. And let's go Detroit Tigers.